Do you try to understand rather than judge others? Do you try to put yourself in others' shoes, even when they think different than you? Do you try to understand alternative points of view? Or are you so stuck in your own head about my way is right that you don't ever think about other possibilities? Welcome to Be a Better Person. This is a channel all about loving yourself, believing in yourself, being yourself, accepting all your flaws, failures, mistakes, helping you to be a better person. Because I think if you're a better person, you can help bring joy, happiness, a smile to any other person. So today's topic and what I'd like to discuss is empathy and understanding. Always remember, whatever I talk about are my beliefs, feelings, points of view. Doesn't mean they're right, doesn't mean they're wrong, just means they work for me, doesn't mean they'll work for you. So the whole reason why we try to have these discussions, or I bring out these topics, is so maybe we don't always feel so alone, that we understand that other people think the same as us. And so let's get down to it. Let's talk about empathy, understanding. So let's look at what the definition somewhat of empathy is: the ability to understand, share feelings, experiences, and perspectives of another person, essentially stepping into their shoes to see the world through their eyes. So essentially, I believe to understand why they think and do the things that they do. So I was nowhere close to this ever in my younger years. Again, I think I've just kind of come back to looking at the things that I went through when I was younger, and that they played a big role in possibly why I kind of got this way. Mainly the biggest thing is believing that I had to do everything on my own. I had some obstacles to overcome. I found a way to overcome them. And I feel like I thought that everybody else should think exactly the same way I do. If I could overcome it, why don't they think the same way? I made it through all this and I didn't have any major issues. At least in my mind, I still don't think I had any major issues. I believe I had a very happy childhood. I believe that my life was not terrible. I mean, I had things that happened, but I didn't really see them as terrible as whatever. There's little tiny things that I think made me build a shell, possibly made me not try things. But anyways, I always thought that people should think like me, and I would make judgments on them if they didn't think like me, like they're stupid, or how could they just not do this? Man, they're being a little baby. I don't understand why they can't man up, work hard, which is a terrible, terrible way to be, because we don't know other people's stories. We don't know what they've been through. And yes, well, I will say, we all have trauma. We've all had issues and things that have went wrong in our lives. Some are as little as I lost my favorite pen, where others are maybe I lost loved ones. So those degrees of trauma, I mean, any person that you stop and see any place, whether it's in the store or the gym, you pass on the sidewalk, at a festival, at a fair, every person you encounter has felt every possible emotion. Doesn't matter whether they're 10 or 100. They felt every possible emotion. It's just the matter to what extent they've had those emotions. If they've had way too much trauma, and so they've felt those emotions way differently than you, because it's something that you haven't experienced, so you can't understand. Yes, you can say, oh, I can imagine what it would be like if I lost my pet. When you've never lost one yet, you can imagine. But if you don't know the relationship that another person had with a pet, for you to go, well, it's just a dog. Some animals become family members, and especially when they're around for multiple years, 14, 15 years before they pass. It's a really hard, traumatic thing to overcome. So know their story. That's the number one thing that can help you have some empathy and understanding. And then once you know their story, try to understand where they're coming from. Maybe because of these traumas, maybe because of these feelings, maybe because of these emotions, maybe because of these experiences, this is why they are the way they are. And even though it's not the way you would handle it, maybe you can understand why they're handling it the way they do, or why they see things the way they do. And I just think if we work more on trying to do these two first things, know their story, understand where they came from. Some people you will never know, because it might just be a quick thing in the grocery store, or it might be a quick thing at the gas pump, or it might be a quick thing in the gym, or it might be a quick thing while you're at an experience, whether it be a festival, whether it be a concert. You get a brief thing, so maybe you're not going to know their story, but you can understand that why would that somebody act the way they do? Why would somebody think that the way they do? What could possibly be back in their past or in their journey that could make them feel this way? And then the final thing is put yourself in their place. If you know their story and you can kind of have some understanding, put yourself in their place. Look at how they look at things. Look at how their experiences are and say, okay, I can kind of see where maybe somebody with this, this, and this could think like that. And even if you can't understand it completely, and you've put yourself in their place and you say, well, yeah, but I would have handled it this way. But why do they handle it that way? And is it okay that they handle it that way? Yeah, because it's not your story to tell. It's not your experience. Just understand. Just have some empathy. Not that difficult. So another thing about all these topics and the things that I talk about is I don't want you to think that I've mastered them all. Yes, when I say this, I preach and No. I've gotten much better at some things other than other things, but it doesn't mean I've mastered them. It's still that I don't find myself back to the places that I was at 20. I just try to catch myself when I do that and say, oh, stop. Why am I getting angry? Can I control this situation? Can I change them? No. Is it my expectation that's causing me to all this anger? It has nothing to do with them. It was my expectation of them. So just know that these are all processes that are ongoing and lifelong. They just don't change. Now, some things you can do, like I used motivation to be consistent on doing some things that I've developed habits. Good ones, not bad ones. I still have some bad habits that sneak back in occasionally. I don't beat myself up about it. I don't think it's the end of the world when these things happen. If I go 2 days with missing a workout, I just say, I'm getting back at it tomorrow. If I eat terrible for a weekend, I just say, I'm going to get back and be disciplined this week. I'm going to stay more rigid in my discipline to make up for it. You can't ever go back and possibly make up for it, but you can't beat yourself up. It's gone, it's past. You were in whatever mood put you there to stop that. How can we get back on track? So I think it's very important to me now more than ever is that I try to understand people who have different beliefs than I do. I try to see and think what would make somebody think that way or do that way, or why is this so much more important than this, or why are they being a hypocrite about this issue here, not this issue here? Because I'm guilty of it as well. There's times I can be a hypocrite. Again, by no means am I perfect. I make mistakes daily. I just try to learn from them. I try to not be a hypocrite. If I catch myself, I stop myself. So I just continue to improve myself. I try to catch myself when I'm doing that. And I try to have as much empathy and understanding. And like I said, I try to actually almost look at more people who think differently than me than I do that think the same as me, because I think that helps me grow by looking at and I'm trying to understand these things, to see their perspective, their point of view, why they think that way. So how do you show empathy and understanding? Are there certain strategies you have in doing this? Do you still catch yourself reverting back to not having these things? Or are you just set that if you don't think like me, I have no empathy for you? Back to talking about the hypocrite thing, is that you only have empathy, understanding for people that you agree with, not for people that you don't agree with. And then thinking that you can change everyone without understanding where they come from. And what advice would you give to help people have more empathy and understanding? Maybe there's some things you've mastered that help you understand both sides of the coin, help you see things from different people's perspectives, help you become a better person, help people more, understand people more. I know I ramble a lot of times, but remember, your smile makes me smile. Be kind, be grateful, be helpful, and until next time, have a most awesome day. Thanks.